Hello there, friends. This is Spencer Michaud, and today we're going to be talking about the full moon in the third decan of Taurus. I hope that you're doing well out there. Hope that you're having a wonderful Friday afternoon. Um, it's been a week, right? It's been quite a week, and yeah, some things have happened since I saw you last, right? We didn't meet up last week, but life's been happening. The globe has been spinning. And I hope that you all are taking good care of yourself out there. And hopefully, I'll be able to contextualize some of the astrology for you today. And we'll see what happens. So, if you are in the chat today, please let me know that you're here. It's always nice seeing friends stopping in. Being able to create this community online and whatnot is super important, even in challenging times, like being able to support one another in these types of circumstances, I think is really important. So always love seeing your smiling faces here. Rachel's here. What's up, Rachel? Nice to see you. Rachel says hello from Roanoke, Virginia. Hope that you're doing well, my friend, and everything is going well your way. I am going to make a few announcements here before we dive into the full moon story. Of course, I do have offerings available if you are in need of some support. If you have some challenging things that you're working through and you need the help of a diviner, someone who can interpret some of the symbols in your life. I don't promise that I have all the answers, but I'll at least be able to witness your journey and hopefully offer some wisdom from some of the ancient stories to contextualize the things that you and everyone might be going through. So reach out, spencermichaud.com. You can click on the book now button to book a reading or to reach out in that regard. I also have a webinar that is happening this weekend. This is the Dignity and Devotion planetary series that I'm doing with my beautiful partner, Tanya Andrews. We're going to be doing Mercury tomorrow, Saturday, November 9th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. I hope that you'll join us for that. There is a link in the chat of this video here today as I'm recording this on Friday to sign up. You can also find this at my website on the Book Now button as well. If you sign up for all of the webinars at once, you get a 10% discount. You can find that in that same link. So check that out. I would love to see you there. Also, my beautiful partner, Tanya, has a business called Third Coast Mojo. And we're partnering with Third Coast Mojo to offer a 50% discount on this Maximum Mercury box set, where you can see there is Mercury in its exaltation in Virgo, a number of oils, herbs, soaps, magically infused candles. Check that out. That's a great opportunity to get a whole bunch of Mercury to help mitigate some of the challenges, maybe to help you to think clearer through the chaos, etc. And yeah, when you sign up for that, you'll get sent a 50% off code. So I hope that you'll take advantage of that. We also have a Scorpio season sale going with the Decans webinars right now. The Decans of Scorpio are on sale for 20% off until the end of Scorpio season, which is November the 21st. So I hope that you'll take advantage of that. You can find that on the store button on my website, spencermichaud.com. And finally, if you want to support the work that I'm doing here today, you can buy a super chat while I'm live on YouTube with the little $sign in the chat, or after the fact with a super thanks. Or you can go to buymeacoffee.com, which is a Patreon type website where you can support the channel there as well. And I appreciate all of your support. All right, so that's the announcements that I have for you today. I'm going to check back in with the chat. I know we got people filtering in. Paintings by Mare is here. Says, hi from Maine. Nice to see you, Mare. Hope that you're doing well, my friend, and that all of the beautiful animals that you're painting are bringing your customers joy. I always like seeing your paintings there on Instagram as well. So if you need a pet portrait, go find Mare. Paintings by Mare. Miranda Struthers is here. What's up, Miranda? Says, hi, Spencer. Can't wait to hear what you have for us today. Oh, I think I have some things. I have some thoughts. I have some astrology. It's been a week. I'm pretty tired. I'm pretty shocked, pretty disappointed about how things have been going this week, and just feeling some feelings, and wondering how all of you are doing out there in digital land, and how you're all responding to the turn of events that we've been experiencing, and hopefully we'll be able to prepare for prepare for the future. Robin is here. Says, hi, Spencer and crew. Robin here from Northern California. Excited to learn about the full moon in Taurus 3. Yeah, Robin, it's going to be an interesting one. Full moon's going to be conjoining Uranus. We've got Mars in the overcoming square. We have a mutual reception with the Sun and Mars. We have Mercury opposing Jupiter. Lots of things going on. Saturn's going to be stationing direct shortly. Pluto's moving into Aquarius. A lot of things to unpack with that. Robin says, I can't wait for the Mercury webinar. Oh, I'm happy to hear that, Robin. Yeah, get in touch with me and I'll be able to know that you've signed up. So hopefully I'll be able to get the link to you. But make sure you reach out to me so that you can get the information that you need. Candy Corn says, such a rough week. Yeah, it was a rough week. Depending on your perspective, I know that there's a lot of people that are happy and celebrating and a lot of people that aren't. I'm pretty sad, I will say. So pretty sad, upset, frustrated. And those of you who have been watching the channel for a while, probably understand whatever side of the aisle, I guess, I would fall on. I'm disappointed, and I'm trying to recontextualize what the next steps are forward. And it's tough. It's been an emotional week, and I'm feeling a little spent, to be honest with you. And hopefully we can hold space for each other here today and figure out the way forward. I don't think that we're going to find answers right away, but I do think that seeing what the planets have to say to us can help us to understand the bigger cycles that we may be experiencing. I think that one of the things that's difficult when we get news that is challenging is sometimes it's hard for us to see the bigger picture, the longer term cycle. I don't have a ton of silver linings about all of this here today for you, unfortunately. But what I will say is that time is, this too shall pass, I guess is what I will say with that. This too shall pass, and we don't have the whole story completely written right now, Corinne. I think that sometimes we have to live into the answers, and the new challenges are being presented to us. So we'll have to live into that together and see what our next steps are going to be as people, as astrologers, etc. So yeah, I'm glad that you're here though, and hopefully be able to we'll figure it out. Steven says, this too shall pass like a gallstone. Yeah, it's probably will feel a little bit like a gallstone, Steven. Painful, right? Painful. All right. So thank you, friends, for stopping in. Let me know that you're here. I'll compose myself here for a minute. Apologize in advance if I cry today. That's kind of how I feel. Feel pretty exhausted and pretty sad. I'm sad for the planet. I'm sad for the women in America and our LGBTQ friends, family. I'm sad for peace, and I'm sad for the hateful rhetoric that I think that we are probably going to see amplified over the next few years. That makes me sad. It makes me just shake my head. So, yeah, I thought I would get that out of the way here today, but so it goes. And again, you don't always understand how everything's going to work out, and one challenge at a time, I will say. Rachel says, I'm devastated, but I will say I was so excited knowing that this live stream was coming up. Oh, appreciate that, Rachel. I hope that I can shine some light on it. Wish I had more in the tank for you, friends, here today. I feel, if I'm going to be 100% honest with you, which I am, I feel that the burden of holding space and trying to be a beacon of light and uplift people, I feel like that weight got a lot heavier this week. And I'm going to have to take some time and figure out what what that means for not only for me, but for the people I care about, and what the best way to engage with this work moving forward and just life itself. Like I think that as empathetic people who feel a lot of the emotions that people feel, you can absorb a lot of it. And man, I'll tell you, the pain has been so very loud this week for a lot of people that I care about. And it's tough to process that, and trying to figure out all the answers at once is, that's a fool's errand, right? But what I will say, Rachel, first of all, I'm grateful for the people in this community. I'm grateful for everyone who tunes in and supports the channel and shares their wisdom with the group. I got a call this afternoon from my beautiful daughter, and who's going to turn 21 in January, and she's pretty upset about the outcome of the election in America for good reason. She's a young woman who is seeing many of the potential of her rights being taken away, and she was sad and upset. But today, she and her Aries Mars and Capricorn Sun, Leo rising, little daughter, she was so fired up. I'll tell you, if you want some hope, friends, there are young people out there that are going to take this energy and turn it into something positive, and are going to turn it into they're not going to give up and roll over. Like, my daughter is a fighter, and she was talking about how she was very excited to start organizing for women to learn how to protect themselves and how to empower themselves through this. And that was pretty cool. I will have to say that. Just seeing her get excited about finding purpose and being able to attempt to heal some of the pain that she's feeling in her communities, that gives me a little bit of hope. So I think that there are people out there that are, not only holding space like we are here for each other, but there are fighters out there, and there are young people that are getting to work, and that's really exciting, and it makes me feel hopeful for the future. And yeah, Steven says, I've been burning sage since Tuesday. Nice. Well, we're gonna need a pretty big bundle of sage, my friend, if we're gonna clean out all the bad vibes that we've had this week. Urania Universe, hey, what's up, Portia? Nice to see you. Says, seeing you, friend, holding space, healing together. We'll have the greatest transformation from that position. It's hard to see and feel now, but it's here. I agree. Yes. Urania Universe, Portia, an amazing astrologer, and a good friend. I love seeing you here, and I hope that you're doing well, friend. And yeah, there's so many passionate young people, young women, young astrologers out in the world here that we are going to compose ourselves and to be able to start, building the community and the bridges that we're going to need to be successful moving forward, and to just for survival, but thriving and being able to counteract some of the negativity through our strong love and compassion. I think that's part of the key. Paintings by Mary says, thank you for the pet portrait shout out. They are helping me through this time a lot. I'm with Rachel. I was looking forward to your live stream. Oh, appreciate that, Mare. And I needed a little break last week. I was feeling pretty overwhelmed and needed a little bit of space last week. So I'm sorry that I wasn't here for you all when things were getting intense at the pre-election time. But sometimes we have to be able to put on our life preserver first and compose ourselves before we are diving into whatever needs to happen next. But I really do look forward to these sessions with all of you, and I'll do my best to contextualize the astrology for you. Winter's here. What's up, Winter? I hope you're doing well, my friend. I'm thinking about you today too. I hope that you're doing okay and and that you're finding some peace and centeredness within some of the chaos as well. I care about you, friend, and we're going to be watching out for you too. Devin says, I love that this full moon is going to be near the placements of Che Guevara, Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and Karl Marx. Many people that strive for the people in hopes of making a better world. Oh, Devin, that's pretty cool. And that gives me some hope. I think that sometimes the challenges that we face, the dark night of the soul that we face, it rouses us to really important action and changes. Sometimes we do need to be roused out of our lethargy, out of our easy patterns of life that it's inevitable that we fall into. And sometimes we have to be able to experience a personal feeling of loss and of grief before we're able to take those next steps. I think that one of the things that to contextualize where we're at just astrologically, we had a new moon in the first decan of Scorpio, which that first decan of Scorpio speaks to grief, ritualizing our grief, letting go of old forms that no longer serve us. You know, we're being shown a form, whether it's through government or through how we've organized a country, that just isn't, it really isn't serving at least half of the country anymore, right? And how are we going to build something new with that? And I'll talk about this in the full moon today, but the sun at this next full moon is going to be moving through Scorpio 3, which is about the glamorization of forms that are no longer bringing us vitality. So how do we get past the old, glamorizing the old system that has let a lot of people down? You know, I think that those of us who are progressive and fairly liberal feel pretty, I think, let down this week. And how do we move forward from that, and instead of continuing to prop up an old system that obviously isn't working? Dawn says, hi everybody, so happy to make it to the live this week. Hey Dawn, what's up? I hope you're doing well, friend, and hope everything's going well for you down in Mobile, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. Hope that you're doing well, my friend. Painted Turtles here. What's up, Lawrence? As I'm excited for the Mercury presentation on Saturday. I know it's going to be fire. We're doing our best, Lauren. We're pulling out all the stops and you know, I think it's going to be good. We're just grinding away at it. I think that a lot of the feelings we've had, we haven't been able to really process a lot of our feelings because there's just been a lot of work to do. Sometimes that's how life goes, right? But I'm excited about that. I hope that, you know, more of you will join us tomorrow at 1 o'clock for the Mercury presentation Tanya and I are going to be doing. We're going to be talking about not only Mercury within its own dignities and debilities. We're going to be talking astrological magic. We're going to be talking about the synodic cycle of Mercury and some things that you might not hear in a lot of presentations, sort of the traditional perspective on how the Mercury goes in and out of the beams, the moments of phasis, the Kazemi moments, the lying hidden phases, all of those things we're going to be touching on tomorrow. Corinne says, I think the transition of the outers into yang signs will inspire us to act. Ooh, I like that. I like that, Corinne. I'm seeing that already. I'm seeing people starting to gear up for the Pluto and Aquarius challenges. And I think you're right. We'll touch on that today for sure. We'll touch on what roles we may need to play in the changes that need to happen, whatever revolutionary act that is and what that means to you. It's going to be important. I apologize for some of the background noise. We've got some construction work going on here. It's a little distracting, but hopefully this microphone I have is filtering it out. Yeah. All right. Lauren says, Devin knows what's up with that amazing astrological catch. Yeah, Devin, I'm more curious to hear some more of Devin's thoughts as well, because Devin is sort of on the forefront of some of these thought processes. And over there, you know, living in Portland, there's a lot of thinkers that are trying to figure out what the next stages of all this are. And I've always appreciated Devin's perspective on that. You know, sometimes us in the Midwest, we're catching up a little bit. Life comes at us a little slower here, and it doesn't mean that we don't care. It just means that we process things a little bit slower. And I always like seeing what my West Coast friends have to say about things, and then I'll mull it over and it's like think about where I fit into that. All right. Well, thank you, friends, for letting me know that you're here and for stopping in today. Let's start taking a look at this chart. So I'm going to share my screen so that you can see what we've got going on here. So here is the chart. I'll make it bigger. And here, our full moon in Taurus 3 is going to be the 15th of November at 24 degrees of Taurus. And here we've got the sun at 24 degrees of Scorpio, the moon at 24 Taurus, applying within 1 degree to Uranus in Taurus, and Uranus is hanging out on Algol, which is pretty interesting. We have the moon being hosted by Venus. Okay, Venus is giving its energy to the moon from the first decan of Capricorn, and Mars is bringing its energy to the sun from the first 10-degree section of Leo. And there's an interesting condition between the sun and Mars called mutual reception. So mutual reception basically means that these two planets are exchanging temples or houses or land. They're exchanging resources. So they have each other's best interests, hopefully, in mind, although Mars is in the overcoming square, so I will try to talk about that. Let's see. Dimphy's here. What's up, Dimphy? Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Congratulations to your daughter. I saw that your daughter just graduated from school with a degree. That's awesome, and excited for her and her future. I think that was your daughter, but yeah, you'll have to let me know if that's correct. Winter says, full moons on my solar return. Oh my goodness, Winter. It's going to be a big one for you, friend. Big one. All right, so we've got that full moon. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to break this down in pieces. You know, I think I've identified the features here. We've also got the Mercury opposing Jupiter. Mercury's in its exile. We have a number of planets that are out of bounds right now too. Like I believe that Mercury and Venus are both still going to be out of bounds at this full moon. So there's definitely a lot of energy that is outside of the norm. Our communication styles, the way that our values are going to be a little bit different than what is normally socially acceptable or whatnot. And we'll try to contextualize that as well. Saturn also will have recently been stationed direct by this full moon as well. So a lot of changes. And as we touched on, Pluto is going to be making its shift into Aquarius, its kind of permanent shift away from Capricorn into Aquarius a few days after this full moon, which I think we're going to start feeling the energy behind that as well. All right, Jolie's here. What's up, Jolie James? Nice to see you, my friend. Dimpy says, yes, that's my daughter. All right, yes, congratulations to her. Love her to the moon and back. Oh, that's awesome, Dimpy. All right, so let's talk about Scorpio 3 first. The one thing that I like to do is I like to start with the sun, because the sun is giving us the conscious spotlight that we are trying to infuse, the purpose that we're trying to infuse into the lunar body. So as I touched on earlier, Scorpio 3 is related to the Seven of Cups. Here we see someone who is being shown many different illusions, right? This is, Book T calls this illusionary success. Book of Thoth calls it the Lord of Debauchery. Now, I think that one of the things that sticks out to me about that name debauchery is that this particular decan of Scorpio is related to the moment, Kairos, okay? And when we are trying to capture a moment that has passed, we can do all sorts of evil or dark or negative things in service of glamorizing something that has lost its vitality. And from my perspective of the world, this past week that we've just gone through has started glamorizing forms that are in the past and that aren't really serving people, but that the illusion that they are in service of people has been very seductive. So this full moon might be the counterbalance to that. My personal opinion is that we've had sort of a, I don't know if you'd call it a mass psychosis or something like that, but the Pluto Pisces time period, we've fallen into, I guess, what you could almost call a post-truth type of experience, where it's very difficult for people to understand what is real and what isn't, and there's forces that are actively trying to deceive us in that regard. So this full moon, identifying through the sun in Scorpio 3, which of those forms we just need to release. The story with Kairos is one of a little cherub that has a lock of hair on its forehead that can only be captured from the front. They said that not even Zeus himself could capture Kairos from behind. When the moment is past, it's past, right? When the moment is past, it's past. So pursuing something after it's past is sort of like Dracula, right? It's like a vampire. It's trying to keep something alive that should have died a long time ago through creating death, suffering, exploiting others, bleeding people dry, etc. So chasing old ghosts, some of the themes like might be the beauty of decay, right? Debauchery, fantasy and illusion, releasing attachment, liberation from addiction. That is something that I've seen in natal charts quite a bit. People that have placements in Scorpio 3, oftentimes they have gone through very painful experiences. Sometimes to deal with those experiences, they will turn to substances or alcohol or something like that. But I've often seen that those people are extraordinarily resilient, that a lot of their story is through overcoming some of those addictions or some of those glamorization of forms that actually were toxic to them, and they're experiencing the rebirth process. Scorpio 3 is, when it works best, is understanding the alchemical phase of putrefaction, right? This is something that Austin Coppock talks about in his book 36 Faces, is you have to allow something to crumble and to go back to its base elements so that it can be reconstructed later as something else, right? You're burning away the dross and allowing the essence to be freed once again. And then sometimes that process can be ugly. Sometimes it's a beautiful process. So that to me is part of this Scorpio 3 energy. So questions to ask yourself: is this reality or is this illusion? You know, we are going to have to ask ourselves this in America for the foreseeable future: is what is real and what isn't. When you have people that have been, I guess for lack of a better word, gaslighting the public for a long period of time, it can sometimes be difficult to understand what is real and what isn't. So we're going to have to be very clear focused about what is real and what isn't before we take action. Has the opportunity passed? Are you chasing something that is already gone, right? What forms are no longer vital? What dark truths do you need to accept? I'm just laughing. I'm laughing at that one because the dark truth that I think America is accepting or starting to accept is that half of its people are actually pretty racist and misogynistic. I think that that's a hard truth that we're coming to terms with with the results of this election. And that's frustrating to me. And I think it's going to be part of the healing process, is identifying that so we can root out the root causes of those thought forms. What desires need to be released? How can you compost the past for future fertility? We'll have to compost much of the Democratic Party, I think. Sorry. I'm sorry to be so unfiltered about it today. I'm pretty upset. I will say this. So I was questioning whether I could come on and maintain my composure. I like being the eye of the storm, but fucking tired, friends. I'm fucking tired. I'll tell you that right now. Just trying to rationalize all of this is a fool's errand. It sucks. I'm just gonna be real blunt with you. It sucks. This sucks. Uh, the next few years are gonna be really hard. I'm gonna level with you. Like, this country signed up for a world of hurt, and we're gonna have to do a lot of heavy lifting to counteract some of the bullshit that is coming our way. So, um, I guess buckle up. So that's the Scorpio 3 part of it. Taking a look at the chat here. Maybe you all can be my solace today. Maybe you can spark my flame of hope. My daughter tried today, and I am hopeful from the conversation I had from her, but it's a lot going on. Jolie James says, my solar return was yesterday. Well, happy birthday, Jolie James. I hope that you're doing well and that your year ahead is fruitful. Yes, transformation for sure. Lauren says, Susan Hopkinson is a great with Neptune Pluto insights, very qualified mundane astrology to check out for these geopolitical energies. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I would not consider myself a mundane astrologer. I have some thoughts about how some of these planets might affect the collective, but it's nice to be able to find some of those folks that are specifically focused on those particular techniques. I would say that I consider more of my role, I don't know, trying to be an emotional support system. And I'm sorry if I'm failing you all today in that role. But let's see. We've got some really good comments coming in. The election results are what, Devin? Shitty? Terrible? Frustrating? Don says, my prayer is that we will all choose to come to respect each other or nothing will ever change here. Both sides are so polarized and disillusioned by the other and the lies that they've seen. Sending hugs. Yeah. I guess my response to that, Don, is the powers that be thrive when they divide people, right? When they make it a us versus them versus it's subterfuge. Like when you have a billionaire oligarch class sowing the seeds of discontent between the regular working class people, they can do all sorts of horrible things in their name or while everybody's fighting with each other. So I agree with that, Don. I agree that we need to try to figure out ways to come together as a country. And I don't know. I again, this is going to be one of those days, and the construction is really loud. Yeah. Robin says, I totally feel you. I'm very fearful about what could happen, but I'm also very angry as well, especially at everyone who voted for that idiot. Yeah, I'm disappointed. But I've always said on this channel that I feel like I try not to demonize people because I want to give them an opportunity to change their mind. And I still feel that way. I talked to my daughter about this today. How do we fight against the ideals that create this system while still maintaining our humanity for not only for each other, but for the people that we're fighting against? How do we fight against the ideals that created that so that it doesn't continue to perpetuate that moving forward? Do you see what I'm saying? Like if you can change an ideal, then future people aren't going to adopt the negative ideal. Like they have the opportunity to continue to change. And those people that have adopted the faulty ideal can come back around if they can see the light within that. So I think our job right now is to show people why that ideal is more beneficial moving forward than the ones that they've adopted. Sunny D is here. The only way I'm dealing is to tell myself that I have been wrong about a person before. For several years I was wrong. And I think that's a healthy perspective. All of the things that we haven't experienced all of the the unfolding yet. And the story is not written. This is just one chapter in that. It's the beginning chapter, or not, maybe not even just a continuation, right? Devin says, the results have become consuming and distracting. It's important to take off the blue and red colored glasses and look to building community we can touch, talk to, hear, and see. I agree with that, Devin. I agree for sure. I think that one of the things I was thinking about with this today, and that reflects some of the Neptune and Pisces energy and the coming Pluto and Aquarius transition, is that a lot of times in like social media, it's so easy to get into the echo chamber type of thing, where the voices of a select few are amplified. The most negative people are often the loudest. And when you actually look people in the face and talk to them and have conversations with them, that's when you start finding the shared things between you, rather than just the venting that people are doing about the few things that they hate. You know, it's a lot harder to say that face to face. So I think being able to get back to that type of interacting is super important. Dimpy says, over here for certain jobs people need a certificate of good behavior to get it. How come in the US the president can be elected without one? Apparently money talks the talk and lies walk the walk. I mean, there's your answer right there. I mean, that's really the answer right there, Dimpy. Had a sleepless night watching BBC UK following the polls. Yeah, and I'm sorry to all of our international friends. I hope that you don't lump all of us Americans in with his viewpoint, because there are at least 60 to 80 million of us that don't believe that and don't believe the hateful rhetoric that he represents. So I guess hopefully that we'll be able to push back on that. All right, so let's go forward to the moon. All right, so Sun in Scorpio, hosted by Mars in Leo 1. It's squared with mutual reception. So what types of things are we experiencing with Mars squaring the Sun, but in mutual reception? So Leo 1 is related to the Five of Wands. I'll show you here. I'll stop my share for a minute. Oh. I'll tell you what, the construction behind me is, if my nerves weren't already shot, it's not helping. So look at the Five of Wands here. So this is where Mars is hosting the Sun. This is a card that represents a fight for the spotlight, a mock battle, a mock competition. It represents the pressure to perform. So we have this feeling this pressure of visibility, and maybe some of us are feeling scared to be visible, I think, which is understandable. Other people are trying to utilize their will and their voice to be able to speak out and speak up for the people that are who need it most. I think that all of these things are going to be informing our awareness of the forms that are moving forward and are decaying in our lives here. Now, with Mars in the overcoming square to the Sun, it is a planet that is harming the Sun. Traditional astrology calls that being on the 10th. So if you look at our chart, we'll go back to the chart here. So here's the chart. You can see Mars here in the overcoming square to the Sun is actually harming the planet that is in its home, so to speak. Okay, so a difficult position for sure. So we might be feeling pressure about what is happening next, this competition for resources, this competition for power, for being able to assert our will, and that could be feeding the Sun within this configuration. Now, if we go to the moon, we've got the moon in Taurus 3 conjoining Uranus here. And let's look at Taurus 3, because I think this is the interesting counterbalance to this. What's up, Jennifer? Nice to see you, friend. Taurus 3 is syncretized with the Seven of Pentacles. And here we see someone who is assessing his actions. He's assessing his crop, and he's looking at the blight. This card is based on the potato blights of the late 1800s in Ireland, and this is assessing the damage on some level. And I think that that's actually what this full moon might be about, is assessing the damage that happened with all of this, coming up with new ideas to be able to fix things that didn't work out the way that we had hoped, right? There is a spirit in this deck called the Litai. And the Litai were these hobbled old women that followed behind a deity or a demon called Eight. And Eight translates to ruin, and ruin or rashness. So the things that happen through rashness or through unthinkingness, there will be an opportunity to remedy and repair those things. So these are the first steps, I think, into repairing whatever damage was created throughout the lunar cycle. Now, we may have to shake up our patterns and routines because it is conjoined with Uranus. We may have to have that revolutionary spirit to shake us out of the lethargy to move forward. So this decan also is syncretized with challenging forces of nature, because it speaks to humility in the face of nature. So floods, droughts, pestilence, natural disasters, humility before nature, assessing our efforts and taking remediating measures, enduring material hardship. A lot of people are suffering right now because they don't understand what tariffs are, what that actually means. A tariff is basically something that the American people are going to have to pay in the rising costs of their goods, not something that the other country pays when the goods come into our country. And 70 million people didn't understand that when they thought they were going to get cheaper goods. So assessing what material hardships we might be having moving forward is going to be important. Atonement and surrender to a higher power. I think that's going to be important too. We don't have all the answers, and we're going to have to live into that and co-create with the divine the future that we want to see, and have faith within the process. So questions you can ask yourself with this moon in Taurus 3. What are the results and consequences of the efforts, of your efforts? What have they produced? What is the reckoning that we are having, and what are we reaping from what we have sown? How much work is left, and how much further is there to go? What went wrong, and how can you learn from your mistakes? Did you rush something? Can it be redone correctly? We'll see. Can you protect what you've cultivated from blight? How do we protect vulnerable people in our communities from the blight that is coming? Where do you need to surrender to a higher power? Okay, so all things that we can consider with the moon conjoining Uranus. Now, the moon is going to be hosted by Venus in Capricorn 1. And Capricorn 1 is related to the Two of Pentacles. So here we see the Two of Pentacles. Book T calls it harmonious change, or Book of Thoth calls it change. This decan is really about trying to understand where we want to build our next project, cycle, etc. It's assessing the lay of the land, the new law of the land, right? And this is something a lot of us are doing right now, is figuring out what the new rules of engagement are going to be, and what the new social expectations or the new rules of the new game, I guess, are going to be. So the themes of return of the light, the descent of spirit into matter. This is the decan that is related to the winter solstice, the return of the light of the sun. A flash of material insight, change of location. This is a time in the solar year where we're looking both forward and backwards in the winter solstice. The laws of the land, right? It's a Saturn-ruled sign, so we're trying to organize ourselves materially. Genus loci is an interesting way of thinking about this, the protective spirit of a place. So getting to know the spirit of our communities and our places is going to be important. So questions you can ask yourself based on Venus being in Capricorn 1, the host of this full moon. Where are you going? Where have you been? What is being set into motion? How can we understand that and understand the material ramifications of that? Where is the best place to build your structures? Where is the best place to build your resistance? What are the laws of this new land? That's going to be important, literally and metaphorically. There's going to be different laws that we'll have to take on and whatnot, and different ways of existing. Is your vision sound, and is your focus too narrow? How can you inhabit this body in order to redeem it or heal it? This deck in 36 Faces talks a lot about the descent of the spirit into a body and into matter. In the astrological wheel of the year, the cardinal signs initiated a process. So you can think of the cardinal earth as initiating a physical process. We're trying to build something new, potentially. Robin says, one thing that comes out of all this craziness, I've decided to finally get my dual citizenship in Italy. If I can work and live anywhere in the EU without a visa. Well, yeah, that might be nice. I hope that you are able to do that, but I will say this. Not everyone's going to have that luxury. Not everyone is going to have the luxury to leave. While I appreciate the sentiment and have had similar thoughts myself at certain points in the last few years, I think that running away from a problem rather than facing it head on is, I hope that we keep passionate, good people in this country rather than lose them. We're going to need people like you, Robin, to help make changes in the world. So I'm not saying I hope you reconsider. I think it's nice to have a safe space to go to if you need to. But I do think that there's going to be so many vulnerable people that don't have that luxury, that we need to figure out how to help them be safe as well. Oh, what's up? What's up, Corey? Castle Rock's here. Says, joining from a sad little blue bastion in eastern Iowa. Oh, buddy. I'm glad that you're here, and I'm sorry about the results. I feel for you, man. And Iowa was kind of surprising. Iowa kind of came through. Was Iowa Kamala Harris? Did she win Iowa? Can't remember if she won the whole state or just a little portion of it, but yeah, we're commiserating. We're feeling our feelings today. It's a little bit slow, and there's a lot of layers of emotion to get through to try to get to clarity. And I'm also fighting construction outside my window that is actually getting on my nerves. So I apologize for that. All right, so we have that full moon in Taurus. Let's go back to the chart. And what I'll do is I'll kind of take you through some of the time period afterwards. Before I do that, do me a huge favor. This is a good time. Let's take a little break. Stretch out. Do me a favor. Please like the video. Subscribe to the channel. I apologize for not being at my emotional best today. It's been a really long couple weeks. I guess for those of you who haven't heard, my partner's father passed away about a week and a half ago too. So we've had a lot of hits coming here recently, and both me and my partner are human beings, and we're going through the same life stuff that all you are. And as much as I try to put on a brave face for everyone, I'm not doing very good today. But I think that it's important to show up, and we can help each other. So I hope I'm not alienating my audience today or my community. And then apologize if you're new here and you're like, what is this guy? He sounds so sad. But sometimes we have to be sad and feel our feelings. Let's see. Painted Turtle says, I agree. Building safe spaces is more necessary than ever. I agree. I hope this is a safe space for people. I feel like we've weeded out the negative folks a long time ago. Just me talking about climate change has probably alienated all of those folks, which good, whatever. Although I will tell you, I don't necessarily, I agree with Devin. I don't want to separate people into blue and red and those types of things. I actually have some family members that don't agree with me politically, some past friends that have, changed their political associations. Like, people are people, and many of them are doing the best that they can, and we don't necessarily have to agree on everything to recognize each other's humanity. That being said, it's okay to be angry at them or at the system, or at the results. And yeah, straddling that line of feeling sad, angry, disappointed, but also trying to tap into your best self and hold space for people we disagree with is it's hard, and there's a balance around with it, you know. Dimpy says, apart from stretch, breathe. We all hang in there together. Oh, thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. Jolie says, you're doing great. Thanks, Jolie. I've been like two or three words away from just like crying. So I try my best. I'm an emotional person. When I really am sad and upset, talking is actually hard for me. So getting everything out today is a little bit tougher. Corey says, it's so important to feel your feelings, but it's hard to know whether to associate or disassociate with all the madness, especially being a part of the vulnerable community, LGBTQ. Yeah, Corey, I feel for you. I really do. And I have so many friends and neighbors, really, in this, especially in the community I live in. It's a very liberal part of Michigan called Ypsilanti, and it's a very queer-friendly town. And a lot of our neighbors are in the LGBT community, and I'm just feeling really sad for them right now too. And as an empathetic person, taking on that pain is something that I'm just feeling the weight of the world right now. And I understand it's one day at a time, and I have to listen to a lot of my own advice on this channel. But yeah. Associate or disassociate. That's an interesting thing to parse out, right? I think that we do need to be able to rest and allow ourselves to feel those feelings and let it flow through us. But then, like what we're doing here today is connecting, right? And talking it out and sharing our grief. I think that's an important part of the process too. Mayor says, I'm evaluating where I can do more in my community to help the less fortunate. I need to walk the walk and just think about it. Let's help our fellow people if we can. Yeah, absolutely. That's really important. Even if the changes that are happening politically don't affect you personally, and I will make the argument that this affects everyone. I mean, what an extraordinary loss for the planet. I say that with all the love in my heart for this earth. The policies of the winning party are very dangerous for the climate and for the animals, the trees, the earth. It's not good. So I will argue that it affects everyone, but there are certain people that are even more vulnerable just by the basis of their economic status, of their gender, of their sex, of their demographic. You know, there are more vulnerable people, but I would argue that everyone lost right now. So how do we kind of come together? Because we are going to need everyone, Mayor. And I think it's a good impulse that you have, thinking about how we can come together. Mariana says, I am very sorry for you and your partner. Thank you for your vulnerability. I'll appreciate that, Mariana. Hope that you're doing well, friend. And we're hanging in there, one day at a time. Jolie says, it's okay, you'll cry in the corner after the stream. I probably will. Or just break something. But yeah, one day at a time. Mariana says, the same happens to me when talking and I'm emotional. Yeah, I have Mercury in Cancer in the 12th house. It's retrograde. So my thoughts are filtered through layers and layers and layers of feelings. And the feelings that they're trying to swim through right now are murky and heavy and dirty. And that's a tough one. That's a tough one to get the words out sometimes. Seema's here, says, condolences. I hope you continue to shine your light. We need such compassionate souls during hard times. I appreciate that, Seema. I gotta be honest with you, friends. I'm a little bit nervous about the future for us astrologers and people in the, I guess the occult community. The types of things I've been reading make it feel a little bit unsafe even for astrologers, diviners, tarot slingers, etc. I hope that's not the case, because I really like this work that I'm doing, but I've had to be, my initial thoughts leading up to this was we might have to be a little bit cagier about how we speak about things. So if it feels like I'm talking in codes to all of you sometimes, I think some of that is an awareness that sometimes some of these things may not feel safe. We may be targeted for some of these beliefs and things of that nature, and I will try to be brave along with all of you, but we'll have to figure that out. I hope that's not the case, but like I said, I love this community. Cosmic Girl 101 says, good morning from Australia. Happy to be here. How are we today? Well, we've been better, Cosmic Girl. If you've been following along with the results of the United States election, you probably know that there's at least 66 million of us that are shaking our heads and are like, what the fuck? What the fuck just happened? What are we doing here? So, yeah. Yes, hope for the good of all, Jennifer. Castle Rock Corey says, my husband's grandfather passed on Sunday. Get this, his natal chart features a 9-degree Scorpio moon. He was 95, right on the new moon in Scorpio, right? So sorry to hear about that, Corey, and condolences to your family too. Yeah, tons of grief. We talked about that at the new moon, the grief part of it, and it's real. I mean, that grief is ugly sometimes. This live stream today it's not smooth. It's an ugly process. And I think if we normalize not having to be shiny and have a sheen to our public selves all the time, especially when we're feeling those feelings, maybe that's how this has value on some level. So hopefully you're doing okay there, Corey. All right, so let's take a little bit of a journey through the next unfolding of this, right? So we have the Saturn stationing direct on the 15th, the same day as the full moon, okay? The same exact day. So here is Saturn stationing direct at 12 degrees of Pisces. So what does that mean? Well, I think that part of the heaviness that we're feeling now is Saturn, turning around like an oil tanker. And I think that Pisces too often represents our hopes and our dreams. It's related to the 9 of Cups, and some people call it the Make-A-Wish card. Well, I'll tell you, Saturn is a planet of endings, and for many of us, a certain type of dream died in the last week or so. But what that does is that instructs us into the reality of the situation. When a dream dies, it's an opportunity for a new dream to be born. And if we're chasing a dream that isn't realistic, like, Kamala Harris was obviously not a realistic future for this country at this point. And that dream died. So that shows us what new responsibilities we have to take on, what new journeys we're going to go on, what new battles we're going to fight, what new dreams that we're going to try to bring into existence. And I think we're getting clearer on what responsibilities we have moving forward. In an election year, there's a lot of uncertainty, right? And now that we know the results, now we know the types of actions that we're probably going to have to take. Some of those actions would have been the same either way. Don't mistake my sadness for the results and the support of Harris as a full-throated endorsement of everything that she stood for, because she wasn't a perfect candidate either, right? And there would have been some of these challenges that we would have had to go through no matter who was elected. But now the construction is literally right outside my window. What they're doing right now is they're digging, and they are trying to ascertain whether we have lead pipes or not. There is an initiative to be able to remove the lead pipes in Michigan and to help the water system be healthier. And they chose today during my live stream to take a giant truck and dig a giant hole to take a look in the camera at the pipes. So that's what you're hearing in the background. Cosmic Girl says Venus squaring Neptune today. Take it easy, guys. Yeah, lot going on. Absolutely. Jennifer says, I've had a lot of house problems that have given me tons of grief. Now need to get a loan. Oh, I'm sorry, Jennifer. I know lots of things have been hitting us hard in this week for sure. Rachel says the sound effects in honor of the full moon. Yeah, is it loud? I mean, I can hear it. It's like a cacophony of annoyance to me, but hopefully it's not super distracting for all of you. So we've got Saturn stationing direct on the 15th, and we have the first aspect of the moon coming on the 16th. So if we move the chart forward a day here, I'm just laughing. This is so fucking annoying. You can see that we have the first aspect is going to be at about 12 degrees of Gemini. Okay, so here's the moon squaring Saturn. So we're going to have to deal with some dualities with the moon squaring Saturn there. Okay, we're going to have to hold some ambiguities. There's probably still going to be a lot of things up in the air that we don't quite have answers to yet. And this is going to be showing us some of our limitations potentially with the moon squaring Saturn. Now, that same day, we have Venus squaring the nodes of the moon. Okay? Oh, motherfucker. You're just going to hear me swearing all day long here. Oh, this is Spencer Unfiltered today. I know some of you laugh when I have those days, but here it is. So here is Venus at the squaring of the nodes at about 5 to 6 degrees of Capricorn. So this is a position of Venus where it's a turning point, right? When we have a planet that is at the squaring of the nodes of the moon, the north node and the south node, as we see here, it's at a peak of one of those particular energies. We have the peak of the Libra energy for Venus, and it is going to be starting to move towards the north node in Aries. Okay, so it's moving towards the north node in Aries. So we may be starting to move away from this peaceful, unified relationship type of energy with Venus and moving more towards one where we sort of have to rouse ourselves towards action. So I do think it's a turning point for action. Okay, so this is part of Venus at the bending of the nodes, a turning point for Venusian matters. The other thing we have on that day is the Sun opposing Uranus. This feels like the Sun's opposing Uranus right now. Like, this is the journey of doing live YouTube broadcasting. If I'd known this was happening today, I probably would have changed this around, but so it goes. So this is the Sun getting shaken up by Uranus. We see this inherent in the lunation itself, but this is when the Sun is going to be coming into exact opposition with Uranus. So there could be something shocking that's coming to us in the days ahead with our leadership on some level, with our awareness of which forms need to be discarded and which ones are still going to bring us vitality, hopefully. Thanks, Dawn. Dawn is saying, breathe, Spencer. I'm trying. Jennifer says it's like a big bee buzzing. Yeah, it is very, very loud. And I will say, this microphone that I have has a lot of noise canceling properties. So imagine how loud it is in my ear right now. Dawn says, truth, painted turtle, by shaking off the excess energy. Even if you don't speak, you feel you can speak freely. The beauty of human consciousness is that a lot of energy can be moved through meditation. Animals move consciousness in beautiful ways by just existing. Oh, thanks, Lauren. Appreciate that. Sounds like a dirt IKE? What's that? Dirt bike, yeah. This is a dirt bike, but we're here because we love you. Oh, man. Yeah. It's a giant tube that they're shoving into the ground, and they're shoving a bunch of water and a camera in there to see if the pipes have lead. I'll try to wrap it up because I know I don't want this to be annoying for all of you. So on the 18th, we have Mercury opposing Jupiter. Okay. So Mercury in the second decan of Sagittarius is a decan that is related to unifying body and spirit to be able to move towards our particular goals. With Jupiter in Gemini, it's splitting our attention in a lot of different directions. So this could be something where we're trying to move towards a goal passionately, but our attention's being split in many different directions, as it is right now. We're also seeing the Sun making the trine to Neptune. So this could be another day where it might be difficult to really get clarity around what we're doing moving forward. And then finally, we have Pluto moving into Aquarius on the 19th. So here is Pluto in Aquarius. Here it is, 0 degrees Aquarius. So Pluto in Aquarius is interesting. I think that the first 10 degree section of Aquarius is related to the Five of Swords. Seema says, the disturbance of noise perhaps reflects your uneasy state of mind. Yep, that's it, Seema. That's it. Because my mind isn't settled, I've attracted the construction workers to my home. You're probably right, actually, on some level, but yeah. I'm like 2 seconds away from just shutting this down because I really can. It's hard for me to think right now with this going on. It's very loud and my nerves are already on edge. So, Pluto in Aquarius. Five of Swords is related to feeling in exile and willingly going into exile. I think this is a I think that this position for Pluto is one that's going to challenge us to come together in solidarity with one another, as many of you are showing me today. And I'm really sorry, friends. I don't think I can continue on with this live stream today. I have a really, really noisy construction thing happening literally 20 feet outside my window, and it's just I can't even hear myself think. I'm really super sorry, friends, and we'll have to figure out another day or something like that. I care about you all so much, and I would want to be there for you. It isn't going to happen. You know, I'm just going to skip ahead to the end here. We'll talk about Pluto Aquarius another time. But I did want to leave you with this I-Ching, okay? The I-Ching that I got for you, friends, is number 16. And it talks about enthusiasm and being able to stir up your emotions to take action. It says that if you are trapped in inertia, indolence, or deluded satisfaction, you cannot make plans for the future. To take precautions and to work for the future, a person needs to be stimulated and motivated. That is why preparation is the flip side of enthusiasm. Okay, so this is really about being prepared for the future and rousing ourselves to action. And I think that's going to be important moving forward, especially as we move into the Pluto and Aquarius age, is figuring out how we can move forward together as a group and as a community. Now, the animal that I got for you today is the duck. So here is a beautiful wood duck. I'm going to read this for you because it's a good animal for today. It says, when duck appears, it means you need to find a better way to handle your stress levels. When you're too uptight, on edge, or quick to anger, stress is usually the culprit. Duck can show you how to balance the water, earth, and air so that you release the agitation, let go of worry, and find balance. Once back in balance, you can connect to these three elements and duck energy to quickly get settled if you start feeling off-kiltered. Duck is comfortable in all sorts of situations and can lend its easygoing nature to help you feel at ease too. Ducks flock together, which means you know many people. That being said, you only have a few trusted friends that are close to you. This is sort of like an animal that helps us to like get out of a sticky situation, right? Have you ever heard that term, like water off a duck's back? You know, sometimes we have to let stresses slide off of us and find ways to center ourselves throughout the chaos. And I think that duck is a good animal for that. Duck is also very loyal to its family. So I think that one of the things that we were seeing with, like what Devin was talking about, is really solidifying our community relationships with one another. And again, I'm so sorry for the way that this has gone today, and I appreciate all of you. I think it's honestly kind of funny. I don't think Seema's wrong as far as the synchronicity of the moment. This is just kind of how we are feeling right now, like a loud construction buzzing in our heads. And maybe in the future, when we look back at this moment, we'll be like, man, there was a lot of noise going on in the world, and it was hard to think clear and think straight. But what I will say is that, like the duck, I consider this online community a family, and I hope that we can continue to support one another. And I'm going to do my best to kind of center myself moving forward, and I hope that you can as well. Try your best to like compose yourself, and it's a marathon, not a sprint, is what I will say too. All of the feelings of this week, we're going to have to process those emotions and then figure out how we move forward in the days and weeks and months and years ahead. So that, I think, is what I have for you. I think it's now that the noise has abated a little bit. I'm just going to look through the comments here. Appreciate the support that you're giving today. My Venus is trying so hard. Your Venus trying so hard in the 6th right now. Yeah, like I think Venus is opposite my natal Venus right now. It says, do what you have to do. Bless your heart. How very Saturn and Pisces, and it feels like it. Well, now that it's done, the noise is done. Need to accept this. It's fine. Oh, thank you, friend. Appreciate all of you. Well, now the noise is done. Just going through and showing all these beautiful messages of support. Appreciate all of you. All right, friends. Should we wrap for the day? Or do you think that's the best thing to do? Or should we try to come back around after the noises abated? You tell me. It says, this group has great energy. Maybe our energies would be best utilized taking a stroll or putting our good energies a little bit elsewhere instead of keeping all the good to ourselves. I like that, Lauren. All right, friends. Let's end here today. And now that it's a little quieter, maybe I can hear my inner spirit a little bit better. That was an exercise in tuning out the noise, is what I will say. I think that the noise is about to get very loud. And I think that there is going to be times where we can't even hear the voice of our own spirit and soul. And when those moments happen, we're going to have to take a time out and just sit, try to find peace, try to find quiet, try to find community, lean on each other for support, and be able to move forward with love and with grace. And the symbols are all around us all the time. You know, I think that the oracle can speak to us through the noise of a construction worker. The oracle can speak to you through a bird or a hawk or an eagle that you see in the sky. It can speak to you through some song that you hear on the radio. So try to tune in to those voices that are guiding you towards your highest and best self, while trying to filter out some of the negativity, rhetoric, hate, fear-mongering. Because there's a lot of people right now that are sad and scared, and we need to lean on each other to get through that. And we need to lean on the natural world as well to give us solace and space. So I think that the best thing to do here is, I agree that I would agree with Lauren today, that I think that taking a nice walk outside, reconnecting with nature and with the voice of our spirit is, I think, the most important thing that we can do. And that's going to look a little bit different to every person. But I have found that sitting outside really can help. And just moving around a little bit and being peaceful in that regard. I'll tell you, the thing that I've been thinking about the most the last few days is when I think about the doom and the gloom that I sometimes feel or that I'm hearing. I look outside and I see that the sun still rose today. And there are birds that are still singing. And I take solace in that, because there are so many cycles that are so much larger and greater than ourselves in this limited vision and viewpoint that we have. And I think that it's one of those things where, as astrologers, hopefully we can tune into those bigger cycles, not just from a theoretical perspective, but from a practical perspective. It's very easy to say, well, Pluto only moves through this sign once every 250 years. It's a whole other thing to experience it, to be able to experience everything that we're going through, to experience the lunar transit, to understand that, yes, this too shall pass. I mean, that's super powerful, right? So I hope that will be something that can bring you peace in the days ahead, that you have experienced good times in the past, and I do think that they will come again. There will be challenges. There will be experiences like, I'm reading The Hobbit right now, and deep in Lord of the Rings lore. That book is going to take on a lot more powerful meaning in the months, years ahead, as a symbol of common people like hobbits being able to do massively important things in the face of great hardship. And stories like that make me feel hopeful, and they are instructive. There's a reason why we have mythological stories. There's a reason why we have allegories in our spiritual traditions. It's to give us strength in these moments, not when everything is going exactly how we want it to go. It's to have faith in this moment when things seem bleak. So it is a test of faith. It is a test of how we can bring ourselves back into center. I'm grateful that we've calmed the waters. I think that an apt metaphor for all this is the stream that becomes muddy is not clear. And when we can let the sediment settle, then the water becomes clear again. So I think that the final thing I will say to you today is let the waters become clear first. Let things settle, and then you can take action from clarity rather than from that position of chaos. So I think that's what I've got for you today. Care about all of you. Thank you for the good comments and the encouragement today. I appreciate you. Corey says, thanks, Spencer. Your strength is an inspiration. Your words today and presence are a solve. Thank you. I'm going to go touch some grass. You're all beautiful souls. That's good advice. And thank you, Seema, for being here today. Appreciate you. In the end, we only have each other. Absolutely. Lauren says, showing up and saying hi to one another is sometimes plenty. Take care, everyone. We'll see each other soon. It's been a pleasure, as it is each week. Always love it here. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you for being a positive presence in our lives as well. Thank you, Dimphy, for being here. Love to Tanya as well, Dimphy says. All right. Well, friends, hopefully we'll be able to get everything squared away. And again, if you want to join us tomorrow for our Mercury webinar, we're going to be doing that at 1 p.m. Eastern. You can still sign up. And reach out if you have any questions, or if you've already signed up and you need a link. I'll be sending that out today. If you're having trouble getting the link, send me a message or an email, and we'll figure it out. Tentative redo date and time, we'll see. Honestly, friends, I've had a lot on my plate lately, and we'll see if I can redo this one from a better frame of mind. Maybe I will. I think that maybe it deserves another go. I'm also thinking about, this is also very Mercury out of bounds in exile. Like just this delivering the message becomes difficult when Mercury is in a place that it's not comfortable, right? It's not comfortable. So, all right, friends, I think that's what I've got for you today. Keep on keeping on, and we're in this together, and we'll figure it out. And again, thank you so much for your presence. Thank you for your understanding for this challenging time, this difficult live stream, and we'll get back to center. We'll get back to it. All right, friends, that's what I've got. Take care. Peace.